this client found us after working already with another company. So a couple of things that we found when we arrived. They covered the top of the aquarium with Durarock, and then they went ahead and painted everything gray. Gray is a color that we try to avoid as much as possible, especially above an aquarium when we're trying to reflect light. We want to create an environment where everything's very bright and easy to maintain and clean. So this is a good example of what we do in order to create the PVC barrier. You could see how raw it looked before, where you have all the structural steel exposed. What happens is when you set the sump in this area, if you don't have a nice flat area to silicone the top of the sump, you'll have areas where you have salt, you have equipment, you have water that could go behind the sump and create an area of trash that gets built up back there. Same thing as here, nice flat area here, flat area there. That way everything is nicely covered and you don't have overspray or salt spray come up and over and create moisture building up in the back. The white is really nice because it helps reflect the light, and as well it keeps everything nice and clean. And this material is nice and smooth, so it's not abrasive. It makes it easy to wipe down and clean so that you don't get any scratches or anything on the sump as well. But basically the sump will go over in this area on the left. Originally the chilling unit or the split barrel cooling unit was here above the sump, and as you see there's already a lot of corrosion. So having that over the sump and creating all this corrosion, basically what happens is all that's going to want to fall in the aquarium. And the last thing you want is any lead or steel into your aquarium, which could poison some of your animals. So we went ahead and took that off the wall and moved it over far away from the sump to try to keep it as dry as possible. Still wet, be careful. No, it's not wet. We typically use a 1/2-inch foam at the bottom of the sumps, just in case there's any imperfections or anything. That way it absorbs any of the ups and downs for the sump. And just, you know, it's a glass bottom sump. We want to make sure we protect it as much as possible. So the foam allows us to do that. I go ahead and put silicone all the way around. Once I put the sump in place, I have some PVC strips. We'll go ahead and put silicone all the way around the perimeter and put this on the bottom of the sump. That way it creates a barrier. Why? Because the foam is very soft. And if water ever gets down here and you want to wipe and clean, it's going to disintegrate the foam. But by creating a barrier, that way it's nice and clean, it's sealed, and I will never get water going up and under the sump. We got to make sure we give it the RAD approval stamp. Once I put the sump in place, on top of siliconing the whole edge, I go ahead and silicone the perimeter of the top of the sump all the way around. Again, to ensure that everything is nice and sealed so that we have a nice barrier, a waterproofing barrier. So this aquarium is about 62 by 60 tall, and then it's about 30 on the outside, so you're talking about 28 inches interior. This divides the dining room and the bathroom. So the idea was to try to create a rock structure that allows the fish to come in and out, swim, and look natural, give me some areas to plant corals, but at the same time, we had to create a barrier. Again, this being a bathroom, we want to have some privacy, so when people come in here, they can enjoy the aquarium, but also use the restroom. So usually we try to go with some plateaus, that way we could create some caves, but I had to put a lot of boulders and rocks on this side in order to cover some of those holes. On the other side, which I'll show you soon, it creates a nice cave effect in different areas. We're going to go ahead and use some star polyps, some mushrooms, some nice soft corals to grow over, just to try to get rid of some of the edges of the flat tiles at the bottom. I went ahead and gave a nice V shape at the top, and again over here I was able to go ahead and use those plateaus as caves in different areas. This side over here came out really nice, and I think it's gonna look great. And bring in some corals as well on this side, get some gorgonians, get some more height and movement, and then softies down below. I still have to run the aquarium with some fresh water first, clean up all the debris, and then we'll bring the live sand or gravel and fill it up with salt water. There's still a lot of work to be done here. I brought a lot of the equipment to mock it all up, but I needed to get the rock out of the way, as I had Nick with me today. He's big muscles and helped me put it all in there. Remember to like, subscribe, and send me your questions. I'll try to answer as many as I can. I'll see you guys next time.